Welcome and welcome back to Demo Words Podcast. My name is P.A. Clark, and in this episode, we're talking about Botox versus fillers. If you want more information or accurate information on what's actually going to happen when you're being treated, this is the place to be. So let's start with Botox. What is Botox? Botox works to remove the wrinkles and the lines in the face, period. When we remove those lines in the face, what's happening is we're looking younger. Why are we looking younger? Because aging is associated with lines and creases. The more lines and creases you have, the more age face you're going to have. Let's look at the longevity of Botox. Well, it can last 3 to 5 months. And typically what I tell my patients is if you're super healthy, you're working out, you do a lot of strenuous activities, you're very healthy, your Botox may not last as long as a typical couch potato. Why is that? Because your muscles are recovering faster. You're super healthy. So whenever we use Botox within the face, it attacks the nerves, it stops the muscle from moving, but those nerves are going to recover, and the healthier you are, the more they're going to recover. That's the kind of different types of Botox on the market. Now I'm saying Botox, but as you know, it's botulinum toxin A. The typical vernacular that's used is Botox for everything. So if I'm saying Botox, I'm really representing botulinum toxin A. And there are 5 different types on the market. There's Botox, which is the original FDA approved in the United States. Then there's Dysport that came second. Then there's Xeomin that came third, Prabotulinum, which is Jeuveau, and now we have Daxibotulinum. These 5 different products differ in some things, but they're relatively the same. You may find that one of them may last longer than the other, and choose the one that works best for you because there are 5 different types. Let's look at one of the pictures here that I have that really tells us about where we can use these products. And we have typically on the upper face, botulinum is going to be used much more readily than the lower face. So Botox within the forehead, glabella, crow's feet, eyebrow lift, the under eyes, nasalis muscle. These are the general areas in the upper face that we're going to use the Botox. What about the lower face? Well, the lower face is what we're segueing into the differences between Botox and fillers. Now let's look at individual treatment results that you may find works for you. So some of these are my patients, some of them are not, they're just internet stock photos. And with this first photo, we can see some red dots on this girl's face. These red dots signify the injection points that I use to obtain 100% accurate results each and every single time. On the second image we have, which is lower, we have the same points, however with the girl animating and the other point with the girl not animating. And what we find is that when there's no animation, the results should look as smooth as that. And that is really what's happening. We're using a liquid to change the muscle function within the forehead to relieve the lines and make the forehead super smooth. And here we're looking at 3 images. Within the first image, we're looking at how the eyebrows can be affected just by doing the forehead. And the reason for that is the forehead muscles are 2 large muscles on each side. And these muscles control the up and down movement of the eyebrows. So if you ever have your eyebrows affected after doing Botox, it's because the forehead was done. Not because the eyebrows were done, but the forehead. And when the forehead is treated, what happens? The forehead relaxes. If the forehead is relaxing, then the eyebrows relax. So we have our model here, and what we're having is that she's trying to open her eyes. And in trying to open her eyes, you'll notice that her eyebrows do not move. Since the eyebrows isn't moving, it's because the forehead isn't moving. Number 2, here we're shaping the eyebrows. And even though it's a subtle shape, her face looks better because of the eyebrow harmony that's occurring. And obviously in the third one, we have the distance between the eyebrows and how high we can actually take the eyebrows when working on the eyebrows to get the shape that the patient is asking for. Some patients would love to have just flat eyebrows, others want an arc, some just want it much higher. So depending on what you're looking for, be careful to indicate to your injector what you're actually looking for. Next, we're looking at the crow's feet. Now, the crow's feet are those lines that run laterally from the lateral canthus of the eye, which is the lateral corner of the eye outward. Sometimes it runs out and then comes down the cheek. We're going to talk about that when it comes to fillers, but with the lateral canthal lines, or what we call crow's feet, you see that they can be very significant in how a person appears. So most people have beautiful smiles. However, you don't want to flash these crow's feet each time you smile, and that's why Botox does such a great job in relaxing the eyes. So while she's smiling, she's not flashing as many lines as she is on the other shot. And on the second, with the before and after, we have the same scenario. We're flashing lines where lines aren't really necessary. In this case, this was done, she's smiling and she still looks great. Her face hasn't changed. Her eyebrows hasn't changed. Nothing has changed. The only thing that changed was the lines disappeared. And we have men, Botox. This is one of my favorite topics. My male population coming for Botox treatments has grown immensely. And the most important area for men having Botox done is just in this area. That's called the glabellar zone. And the glabellar zone is made up of 3 major muscles. Well, there are actually 5, but let's talk about the 3 major. You've got the procerus, corrugator right, corrugator left. You don't have to know that. The one thing you have to know is if you don't like the lines between the eyebrows, you can absolutely have them fixed to form more youthful looking brow and forehead and overall face. Our image, the second image, is more of a stock photo showing you how these results can be. And before having the treatment done, you can find that these lines can be fierce. After having the treatment done, I would say for about maybe the first 2 sessions of Botox, you'll find that even if you're not animating, the lines goes away significantly. Further injections and further treatments would then allow the lines to slowly disappear to the point where you may not have any lines whatsoever. But in order to get there, you would likely need 1 to 2 years of Botox treatments for lines to 100% permanently disappear while the treatment is done. If you don't wait for that 1 to 2 year period, you would always have lines that you're going to find, and then we call those the static lines. So here we have dynamic lines, and what a dynamic line is a line that creases or folds upon movement. A static line is a line that stays whether you're moving or not. With continued treatments of Botox, the static lines would absolutely disappear. We are touching base now on fillers and the differences between Botox and fillers. Botox works on muscles. Muscles, 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 muscles. Fillers are going to work on volumizing, increasing the size of an area, or changing or rejuvenating the shape of an area in the face. Now, what do I mean by changing the shape or rejuvenating? For example, after 25, 28, what happens is that the cheeks go flat. And we start to notice a crease coming down the center of the cheek. That crease is called the malar crease or the malar cleft. That signifies the fat loss that's occurring within the face. From the fat loss, we can replace the volume by using fillers. So fillers are used specifically to increase the size or change the shape and the volume within the face. As we get older, we lose volume in the face. Now, why do we lose volume in the face? We lose volume because the cranium, the skull, the bone in the face also gets smaller. So as you know, your parents now, if they are in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, they're considerably smaller than they were in their 20s and their 30s. They're not only shorter and getting shorter, but then also the frame is getting smaller. So as the head gets smaller, where does the skin go? Where does the fat go? It doesn't go anywhere. It stays and it falls. As it falls, it encroaches in, creating clefts and lines and creases within the face because the skin has nowhere to go, so it's going to buckle. Fillers are there to replace the volume and smoothen out these lines in the face, and generally speaking is used in the lower face, while Botox, working on the muscle to relieve the wrinkles, works predominantly on the upper face but not exclusively. Some areas that works great with fillers are the lips. Now we all know that lips are a great place for fillers. And being a great place for fillers, it depends on the type of filler now that's being used on the lips to get the shapes and sizes that we're looking for. Fillers can be used on the chin as well to kind of elongate or give some projection to the chin where that may be missing. Another popular treatment is the lateral side or the masseter or the gonal region of the face to increase the width but also the angles on the side of the face. Fillers are used really well for these areas. They can last very long if the right filler is chosen, if the right technique is used, and if the right patient is sitting in that chair. So these are some of the differences between Botox and fillers. Now the side effects of these two products are also slightly different, and I feel that I should speak on the side effects. The general side effects such as redness, some swelling, some bruising, that can be normal if it's very minor. If you have a considerable amount of swelling that distorts the face or bruising that looks horrible, this is not normal. This is just bad technique. So as we move forward from being novice injectors and really fine-tuning our craft, we have to understand, and you have to understand, that there's no place for grotesque swelling and bruising. Another difference between Botox and fillers is the major side effect for Botox is, more than anything else, a droop in the eyebrow or a droop in the eyelid. Those are two different things. Droops in the eyebrow comes from over treating the forehead or treating the forehead way too low or treating the forehead in someone who already have lower brows. A droop in the lid itself occurs from bad placement of the Botox product, which actually touches the muscles in the upper eyelid, makes them relax, and now you look like you've got a stroke or so. So that's the difference. A major difference with fillers is fillers can lead to blindness if done inappropriately and if done with a technique that is not conducive to safety and in a location that should not be touched by the novice or even the intermediate injector. The most common areas that can be injected in the face to cause most of these major issues, such as blindness, but also necrosis of the tissue, is going to be the center of the face. Fillers within the center 1/3 of the face can lead to many problems. So you must make sure that you're going to a well-knowledge injector who understands the safety protocols necessary for you to avoid these problems within the face. So that's it for now on Botox and fillers and the differences between Botox and fillers. And as you can see, there are differences, but ultimately both of them are used in conjunction to make sure you are as beautiful as you want to be. Don't forget to click the subscribe for more helpful information and tips on all things beauty and all things within the beauty.